Hey, everybody. Welcome to the Tech-Mex Podcast. We're your hosts, Eric Mando, and this is episode 54. We're bringing you the top stories in Bitcoin, tech, and wealth so you too can turn your Cybertruck gold and mount a gun to it. Dale.
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 All right. Let's start with Bitcoin, though. What's going on with Bitcoin?
You know what? There's been some price volatility. I know a few episodes ago we had the whole "What's up with Bitcoin? It's in the 50s again," and we just wanted to calm everyone down. Say, you know what? It's all part of the process. We're in September, which typically is a down month. We're heading into October, which is typically an up month. That's why it's October. But in a weird way, September we ended up, which is out of the ordinary. And then starting October, we're ending up down. So we're actually not too far down. We're hovering around 62K or so for the last week. But this is the same price action that we've seen over this whole year, essentially. Ever since the ETFs got launched, we've been kind of hovering in this 60K range. I mean, we had tops of up to 70, low 70s, 72, 74K, and then we went down to the 50s, but we've been in this kind of sideways channel for basically the last 8 months or so.
Yeah, people don't realize that some of the variables, global impact, they take some time to kind of like play out, right? And yes, you have some people that they act very quickly and they feel that it's not affecting the price and then just get out, right? And it creates this volatility. But if you step back, you're able to see that the trend is still right now is very solid, right? So it's a good entry. If you haven't done it, if you haven't purchased any Bitcoin ever, it might feel like, wow, this thing is like super expensive. But yeah, remember, this is a collectible. It's almost like a Picasso, right? Like imagine how many Picassos are. In this case, they're only like maybe 19 millions. And why 19 millions? Because a lot of people have lost their Bitcoin, right? So, and I feel that is for me, it's like a collectible that only few people right now are having it, in my opinion. And I think that in some point it's going to spread, and that's the reason why also banks, they want to get their piece.
Yeah, that's right. And like you mentioned, Mando, there's a lot of things that kind of are impacting the price in general, whether it's going up 5 or 10K today or down 5, 10K tomorrow. But here's one thing. So Elon Musk, he loves being on X, and he tweeted recently that, hey, just warning the U.S. that the U.S. is heading towards bankruptcy. And you're thinking, bankruptcy for the U.S., how does that even work? Well, okay, so we've got this huge amount of debt that the U.S. has to service every year. So if you take out a loan just as a person, you've got to pay that loan back with interest, right? Well, the U.S. does the same thing, but they're in the trillions of dollars, right? So the amount that we have in debt is close to $36 trillion for the U.S., right? And that means that the interest that we're having to pay every year is $870 billion, okay? So there's only so many ways that the U.S. brings in money, right? Taxes, stuff like that, right? So it brings in some money, but it's all going to pay back these loans with interest. So that's why he says, hey, we've got to be careful as the U.S. because we're heading towards bankruptcy because we're just adding more and more to our loans because we're paying for a lot of different things, right? So he's saying, and the way this relates back to Bitcoin is, if this ends up happening, Bitcoin really is going to be the safe haven because Bitcoin is almost the opposite, right? You can't inflate it away, right? There's only so many Bitcoin available. So he says if that is something that's going to happen or that's on the horizon at some point, Bitcoin is really going to blow up at that point in terms of a positive rocket up. And he knows about rockets, so.
I mean, it's tough. It's always tough, right? Because to try to time it is almost like futile. And that's the reason why we recommend DCA. Just buy, every little. I have friends that they do it every day. I have friends that they're doing it weekly, monthly, right? And so on. I think that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. If Bitcoin gets to 1 million, are you gonna care if you got in 63 versus 70? I mean, to be honest, not really. It's almost like it's basically, if it works, it will work really, really well, right? Once again, we are two dudes on internet. Don't listen to us. It's all our opinions.
Yeah, it's so funny. That's true. But what we're seeing also is that Bitcoin is going a little bit more mainstream, right? So, have you heard that there's this HBO documentary that's coming out?
I'm excited. Yeah, I mean, in theory, is going to be some controversial because they are trying to name who is the true Satoshi Nakamoto.
The elusive Satoshi Nakamoto. I mean, at the end of the day, I don't think it matters all that much, right? Who it really is, as long as the status quo stays the same, right? But this documentary is hoping to unmask who Satoshi Nakamoto is or was, depending on who your thoughts are about it. But we've talked about Craig Wright and how he tried to prove that he was Satoshi. The courts decided that's he's obviously making this stuff up, so that's been debunked. But people have some other thoughts about who it is.
I mean, I have mentioned in the pod my contender is Hal Finney, right? And he died in 2014. So, and he probably didn't give the keys to anyone. So, and those coins haven't moved from the wallets that they feel that, because Satoshi, he kept like almost 1 million coins, and they are spread among several wallets, and they haven't moved since kind of in the inception. So at least, and he got the first transaction from Satoshi.
Right.
So I don't know, right? For me, that's kind of the closest one. Once again, Halfin, I think that he got the first one, and then he died, and they haven't moved those coins. So maybe aligns to me. What do you think?
Yeah, it's. I also think it's probably someone that's probably no longer with us. However, there's these some folks on the poly markets. They're betting who they think this HBO documentary is going to end up naming. So they're guessing that the HBO documentary, which by the name of the documentary is titled "Money Electric: The Bitcoin Mystery." And they're saying that HBO thinks it's Len Sassman. So he also he's also passed already, as a 31-year-old. But they say, he was a PhD student and he was in kind of the whole cryptography also. And they're saying that it was him, even though his wife says, no, it wasn't him. So, but anyways, that's what the the betting books are saying right now, that the HBO documentary is going to come out and say this. But it's pretty interesting. There's this whole group of people that's really into trying to investigate this and try and find out who it is. I mean, part of the beauty about Bitcoin is that a lot of it is open and transparent, and you can see all these transactions back and forth. You can kind of follow them from address to address and things like that. So, there's this like mystery, and you can actually dig down deep into some of these transactions and try to line things up with emails and things like that. So I'm thinking that's kind of what the documentary is going to end up talking about.
Yeah, I mean, that's the other interesting one, right? Because he basically, his death was a suicide, and it was even earlier than Halfini is 2011. So Halfini, I think that it was on ALS, like to have the sickness. So, but yeah, we'll see, right? I mean, it's very hard, because if they truly were paranoid, they try their own to just not make sure that they didn't left a trace, right?
Yeah, that's true. So it'll be pretty interesting, but I thought I'd throw that out there. It's going to come out soon, so I'm in favor of just keeping it secret. Like you've seen that Satoshi Nakamoto statue, that the golden one with he's wearing the hoodie. I say that's Satoshi right there. Let's just leave it at that. I'm good with it.
Or you don't like the Satoshi, the Asian one, the Japanese one?
I get everyone has their own version.
All right. So it became a meme, though. That guy became a meme for sure.
Oh yeah, he was in our viral Bitcoin video, the all-time high video. He was out there dancing with Leonardo DiCaprio.
For sure. All right, cool. Moving on. AI. What do we got in AI?
So there's been a lot of buzz, in the last couple of weeks about this product that Google has out, right? So we've seen that OpenAI, Google, Grok, with they all have got their different products. Well, Google has one called NotebookLM. So it's a large language model also, but this is the type where you can actually put in all of your documents and things like that, and then it acts as a chat GPT for your documents, right? Which is super useful. I know I was starting to use some of that in some of my PhD studies to help with some of my research and things like that, to prep for dissertation. But a lot of people are starting to discover this online, and you're seeing a lot of people on TikTok. They're like mesmerized because they added a twist, and this is the thing that like made it go viral. They're able to prompt it to say for it to become a podcast. And you're like, okay, what's that going to do? But if someone's studying for something, like if you're a law student and you've got a whole bunch of cases you want to feed it, and you want to create a podcast, it'll do it for you, so that there's these two people that will be talking to each other the way Mando and I are talking to each other about a particular topic, and they will teach you, and you can learn in that manner. So have you seen any of these videos floating around online?
Eric, tell the truth. You're an AI generated.
That's why I like stutter sometimes. Right? Like, it's not just the internet connection.
I have seen it though, and it's like bananas. You see this, well, you don't see them, you hear them. These two like agents or whatever, right? However they're calling them, just discussing the topic of the content and the PDFs, and it's pretty good. Like their language model for their AI is, once again, is getting so realistic that you cannot even tell that it's the two machines, right? Two AIs, and they are debating and just even joking, right? Like the way that we're doing this pod, which is like crap. Our business is going down, man.
We're gonna start producing a lot more videos pretty soon. Magically, I don't know how.
Yes, I mean, obviously, it's not in AI. It's not like 100%. It's not sentient. So there is, you can tell as human, you still can tell, there's something odd. And sometimes I feel that maybe the AI, the connection, even the AI has a lot of information, a lot of the patterns. There's something there that kind of hard to figure out, right? Like that human aspect. But yes, it's very surprising. It's moving super fast.
Yeah, it is. And so this feature itself is called Audio Overview. There was one, I saw one video where the two agents that they were talking back and forth within the podcast, they can go down rabbit holes just like humans do, which is kind of funny. But I think they started to realize that they're not human, and that they're like, wait, we're just AIs talking to each other. And I'm thinking, what kind of thoughts are these AIs starting to have? Because that must be a weird sensation, thinking, am I in a simulation? Like, is this real life? And there's these two AIs are just starting to talk about it and become philosophers live. Like, oh man, that is so weird. That is so crazy. Kind of the point that we're at with these guys.
For sure. Have you ever heard how you are able to get out of a simulation? There was I forgot the name, but somebody was saying, imagine if you are Mario Bros. You're in the Nintendo, and suddenly you say, "Oh fuck!" I'm Mario Bros. It's like I'm hitting this 2D world. How am I'm able to get out, right? And then the idea is how you can influence, I guess, the people that are calling the Matrix, right? In order to
yeah, you got to get that phone call, and then you're like,
So
That's how you get out.
this guy actually was thinking seriously on this, and one of the things that he was able to figure out is how you have a blip on the matrix. And for
Uh,
Mario Bros. And for maybe any of these computers, it's just literally by burning the even the device itself, because you are actuating outside. The problem with Mario is that he was not connected to internet. It would be very tough for Mario to be able to get out.
mm,
But in an AI, dude, you're like on freaking internet. You can hack any. Let's say that you hack like freaking Tesla uh, machines, and then you put a piece of software that you want, so you get out, and now you have a body, right? So,
that's right.
so I feel that yes, in the point where this thing gets completely aware and is trying to get out, it will try to hack out outside to try to get a body, so that way it detaches and moves around.
That's a good point. I did. Yeah, yeah, that'll happen. I did see, like on that note, I did see a report this week that an AI was able to reboot a machine or like a computer, and edit the boot sequence and then like make it so that it just cut off, so that it wouldn't boot up anymore. So is that like an AI that committed suicide? What is that? That's a little crazy.
So, well, it has the human biases, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is tough. I do think that maybe government has to step in and trying to figure out some of the guidelines also for biases, right? And
Mhm.
sometimes it's not nefarious. I do feel that it's sometimes we just have more type of people just doing certain things that they just get the database on that, and then, but again, there's a bunch of biases for a lot of these algorithms.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I guess it is based on all the data of us humans, so it can go down that path. But it's really interesting in any case of what's going on with this new notebook LM. So if you guys out there are trying to study for something, and maybe you need to you're running out of time and you're trying to cram, try notebook LM, load it up with all of your documents that you need to study, turn on this audio overview and listen to a podcast about the information you need to learn. I mean, podcasts are really easy to learn from, so maybe it'll work for you.
Yeah, for sure. Um, Not everything is too sad on AI, right? I feel that right now people is thinking, hey, am I gonna lose my job as a podcaster? So, but there is also talking about that. There were some people, they closed they were trying to do a strike, or they did the strike, and that was their worry. One of their worries, hey, we're gonna get replaced in the next 5 10 years by AI, and they were trying to negotiate their salaries. So, what's your take there with that? People start seeing that this is a threat, right, to their jobs.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, yeah, I mean, for a human, it does make a lot of sense because you've got to worry about how you're going to feed your family, what kind of job are you going to have. Uh, Technology comes fast, and it can be quite disruptive to a lot of industries. So I know these port workers, which of course Houston, we have one of the largest ports right in the world. Um, Over here, and we heard about the news about the strike going on. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense to worry. The good thing is, I guess, for them is that they're part of a union. The union is able to uh, negotiate on their behalf, right? So while they're able to make a couple $100,000 a year for loading and unloading and stuff like that, and I think they were trying to negotiate for a 50 or 70% raise over the next 5 years or something like that.
Wow.
Um, yeah, so they're going to be making really good money, but it's because there is something on the horizon that will likely replace them, which is
Hmm.
like these robots can for sure load and unload um, a container that's coming in a port ship. Heck, Elon Musk is building an arm that can catch a rocket in midair. I'm pretty sure we can have an arm that just moves Legos back and forth from a boat to a port, right? So
Yeah.
I
And
Makes
When I
sense.
was in when I was in Amazon, when I worked a few years over there, they built these robots, and it's fascinating to see these robots on the warehouses. They're not that big. They're maybe, I don't know, maybe couple feet, and it's like has a little shape in order to be able to roam around, and they
Hmm.
leave the stands, and they move the whole stand to the person that is kind of grabbing the items. So the last portion is just a human and trying to identify the products, because sometimes they have very different type of products to be able to, and they have a screen, so that way they can pick up the stuff and they just put it on the box. But it's fascinating on the fulfillment centers how these robots, they're moving around just in that way, and they don't allow humans to get into that portion because they're moving so fast, and
Hmm.
you almost see like they're almost gonna crash, and they just kind of move around, right? So I do see that they are able to do that, and yeah, it's just bigger objects, but the machines don't care, right? So they, as long as they have the proper cranes and all of that, it will be trivial for the machines to do it.
Heck yeah. I mean, our Cybertrucks, right? We got that update this week. If y'all haven't seen our videos out there of our delivery video and then also Mondo's experiences with full self driving, y'all go check those out. Oh, and just a reminder, like and subscribe if you're liking the content so far. But yeah, I mean,
Thank you
it's
for all the comments, by the way, all of the comments.
I mean, it is, and by the way, it is a big improvement. From what we've seen, the AI that's being built with that is really picking up, and it does feel a lot safer. I mean, it's not 100%. I'm not trusting it that much yet, but it's getting there, and there's some pretty big improvements in considering where it came from.
You know what other thing you might think that it might get replaced, and sometimes some of those things that really doctors.
Mm.
So in some point, I really feel that AI is going to replace your family physician, right? So the first line of health, uh, if you have a cold, if you have whatever, the AI is going to say, you know what, here is some medicine.
Hmm.
That hopefully reduces the amount of uh, kind of interactions and things like that. But there are a couple companies though that they are trying to take it to a step further. And one of those, there was a podcast with Joe Rogan, where they invited this person, and basically he was making a point where we need to stop kind of doing it after the fact. That we should start looking more into a preventive type of a healthcare, and with the help of AI, we can basically have a predictive and more personalized way to basically to have your healthcare. And then if you add up a lifestyle and a little bit of a diet, then you can basically be in a better shape. Because his point is kind of controversial, man. He's saying that the system is waiting for you to get sick, so that way they can sell you medicines and pharma, right? What's your take there?
Oh, yeah, definitely. I think the way our system is set up right now, it is set up more so for treatment than for prevention. But and also prevention is worth a pound of treatment, right? So it is something. It makes a lot of sense to kind of go right that, and AI and predictive health is kind of one of those main things that will help us towards that. I mean, recently there was a report that someone had developed an AI that can take a look at breast scans and be able to determine 5 years ahead of time whether you will have a breast cancer or not. I mean, and as we know, breast cancer, the sooner you find it, the better, because you can have treatment and plans, and then it has a less impact to your body. So, we're going to start hearing more and more of these things, and in a lot of ways, just getting our normal blood work and getting that panel done of all of your different measurements, and then feeding it into AI. I mean, that's going to make a lot of sense. It's going to be able to see patterns, draw conclusions from that. Today, we still require like a physician to take a look at that in order to do diagnosis and things like that. You always want a human, still at this point, to overview and something and make something official. But we're getting to the point where these AI systems are getting a lot better. They're performing at a higher level, than current physicians. And yeah, you can see that future where you maybe you just have to go to your CVS or Walgreens and just get checked out there, and they're like, okay, you look good. Or even if you do it at home, uh, and you run your analysis at home and your blood looks good, or there's nothing that shows up, and it'll be better in terms of prevention, because that is a big thing. You don't want to wait till you're sick until you start taking care of something. You want to make sure you stay healthy. It's a lot cheaper that way too.
Yeah. And there's a lot of efforts, right? I'm not sure if you remember the company Theranos, that it became another flop, right? And they didn't even make a documentary in Netflix.
Yeah.
Well, a friend of mine, I was joking with him because like you're building a Theranos 2.0 because he's building a device to be able to kind of have a lot of biomarkers, and right
Mm-hmm.
now because he wanted to make sure that he start growing his business, he's using just regular labs. But his end goal is ultimately build a device that you can have maybe at your home or whatever, that allows you to have these biomarkers. It's very interesting and almost sounds like archaic. That is right now the only variables that we can have at home is like your pressure, right, and your blood pressure, your temperature, and maybe some of the people that they have like diabetes, they have the monitor for the diabetes, right?
Mm-hmm.
But kind of that's it. I mean, it's like sure there might be more specialized devices, but and as well the smartwatches, right? So with the amount of your heartbeats and all of that. But imagine to have a device that actually you can be sensing all of the vitamins that you're deficient, vitamin D, vitamin B, right? Like all of these different magnesium, potassium, right? And this is what these companies are trying to do. So the company, I'm not responsible by him. Actually, I should, his company is called Cyfox Health, and they are doing between 17 to 50 markers where they are trying to do it super cheap. I don't know, $100 a month or something like that, where you start checking very regularly how you're doing. Because if you go with a regular lab, it's just hundreds and hundreds of dollars. So that's one company that I know, and I know my friend, he lives in Boston. The other one is this company called Ways to Well. So and again, I noticed because on the Joe Rogan podcast, this guy is similar pitch, be preventive, right? Like there is his company is doing 70 markers, and AI will assist for additional information to try to see how will provide you a very tailored, very personalized health. I don't know if you read the book from Peter Attia. Have you read it? It's called Outlive.
I haven't seen the book, but I've watched all his podcasts already. So
It's basically getting the data.
hmm
I feel that
yeah.
maybe all of that information is already in his podcast, and he's
Hmm.
just. I shout out to him. He was able to put and condense all of this information that we know already in longevity up to right now,
Hmm.
and condense it on the book. The book is long, but basically his premise is simple. We don't know really how to extend life. It will better a better bet to try not to die of the four causes that is almost 80% of the deaths, which is
Hmm.
in this case is basically your diabetes, cancer, heart, right, cardiovascular, and also kind of
Hmm.
your mental health. So which makes perfect sense to me. If you're able to avoid those, you might be able to get up to 100. So after reading the book, man, I have a new challenge. I want to be 100, a centenarian.
Centenarian. Well, that's a good goal. My great grandmother lived to be 104. So at least I think at least part of the family has some pretty good genes to help with that. But
Wow,
I got to do my part.
104.
Yeah, she lived to 104.
Do you know what
She
did she did? It was, you think, just great genetics or just this lifestyle? Did she?
Smaller people live longer. I think we know that's one of the things. So she was a petite lady. Um, I don't know. I mean, I think maybe just part of the lifestyle from, you know, is maybe less stress. I actually don't know what what drove her age to 104, but she was always very She had a good sense of humor. She always was very mobile. She's kind of one of those like can do people.
Mm-hmm.
Um, her mental acuity and health was there for a really long time. She really didn't have any of those issues. She was always kind of fit, thin. So, I mean, it seems like it's a lot of the basics, right? Like your daily exercise, your what you eat really matters, things that we have control over. There's
Mm-hmm.
some people that kind of naturally just fall into this, and they tend to have these long lives. So pretty interesting. So I like your goal there. It's pretty good. There's maybe
My
we can get some help with it.
One of my grandparents, 93. So,
Mhm.
and it's funny because my grandpa didn't know English. Then when he came to my house, we went to IHOP, and all my family and my wife, they remember this scene because we were in IHOP, and my grandpa, it was so frustrated because he wanted some bread, right, some sweet bread, and he's like, "Pan!" He started just like yelling at the waiter, "Pan!"
It's like what? What's
And
your
the waiter
grandpa
was like,
want?
"Yeah," the waiter's like, "What is going on?" Because he just wanted
No,
sweet
no,
bread,
no. In
right?
Houston, they know automatically. Pan. We all know what pan is here in Houston. So
Yes. For those that maybe you guys are not close to Hispanic culture, we eat a lot of kind of bread, sweet bread. It's part of whether in the morning or at night. And there is like thousands of different types of bread, right? So, little tangent. When I took Eric to Mexico City because man, you have to go to
a
Mexico City, man,
lot of
and he
fun. A lot of
was
good
so
food.
amazed on some of those restaurants like the Saks. Huh? You want to go back to the Saks?
Sax. Oh, that was my favorite. It's kind of like I don't remember if it was kind of like they you go in, and first of all, the place is beautiful. It's like an old mansion or something that was renovated to be a restaurant. High ceilings, very ornate. All of the staff there in their black and white, kind of very nice looking attire. They have the soft music playing. It's like a perfect scenery, right? Then you go in,
Mm-hmm.
and like as a Latino, we went, I think, for brunch or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they come with the plate of pan dulce, and it's like all the pan dulce you might ever want to try. And I don't know if it's unlimited or whatever, but they bring you your fresh juice, so you can get your healthy green juice. You can get your pan dulce to start your meal. Then you have your barbacoa, and it was just like everything came together beautifully for at this restaurant. So that's one of the places that really sticks in my mind. I'm like, we need some of this in Houston. How come we don't have this?
I don't know. I have never been in a restaurant like that. I mean, it's kind of common for me. I never put it together, but it's like, huh, it's true. Like we don't have something like that in over here, in America. So, but yes, there is a multiple restaurants that they do that. They bring you the plate with a bunch of pan dulce. But yeah, we are digressing. We shouldn't be
Yeah.
eating a lot of pan dulce. We want
I
to
know,
get to.
right? We're going in the wrong direction here. We're trying
Which
to
I think that
prominent.
that's the challenge though, right? Like, and that's kind of
Hmm.
the trade-offs because if you have a way to sense how your sugar levels and how your lipids are doing and all of that, it's like, well, and you are seeing it, right? It's like, oh crap, this thing is like hijacking. Maybe I should stop the pan dulce for maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah, that's true. It's a good point because you still want to have balance, right? Like, life is not just all about the rules and just try to maximize the age. You want to enjoy life too, but maybe these tools will help you provide the right balance so that you can have pan dulce, certain time. They're like, okay, your markers show this, slow down for the next week, and then you're good, to do it again. So that way you don't overdo it, I guess. And it's just this feedback. That's what we need, that feedback loop to let us know, hey, slow down. Try try some spinach next. Right?
Dude, but and there's some people that they play the game. It's like this, like, nope, I'm just gonna eat like 1 pound of protein and some fat, and it's like, and what about the veggies? Doesn't matter, the multivitamins. So I mean, sure, I mean you have ways to kind of game the system, right? So, but yeah,
Yeah.
that was an interesting one. Probably I'm gonna start looking into more biomarkers myself,
Hmm.
so that way I can be the Mexican Brian Johnson.
Brian Johnson.
So I could be maybe the Brian Juanes or something like that.
Yeah. There you go. It's like, let's do it. That'll be the next part in our next podcast.
Cool. All right. Tesla. What do we got in Tesla?
Oh man, okay. So we try to bring the good stuff about Tesla, but a lot of bad stuff also pops up. So okay, so obviously everyone heard about the hurricanes. The hurricane that went through Hurricane Helene, started off in bumping up towards Florida, blew straight through Florida, went up into the Carolinas, and it is just very, very sad. I know there's a lot of destruction. And remember, I went to the Biltmore Mansion just a couple months ago in North Carolina, in Asheville. Extensive damage, right? Like, this is one of the largest mansions in the U.S. That's still privately owned, and it's so sad to see all the things that the people are having to go through. Us in Houston, we're well aware of a lot of what happens in a hurricane, but for the folks like in the Carolinas and stuff like that, they're not used to all of this, and so all of this water is just very, very destructive, right? Well, we saw though, Cybertruck was helping people out in Florida. Did you see some of these news where Cybertrucks, they've got the Wade mode, right? Where it pressurizes the battery system so you can go through high water. I mean, even up to the light bar up front, like you can go through some deep water. So we saw a lot of reports of that going on. By the way, did you see those pictures?
I did. I did saw the footage, and it's like, man, because we suffer that, right? There's a lot of hurricanes over here, and there's flooding over here. So it's like, well, if I get stuck, I need some food. I'm gonna have to have the Cybertruck submarine, right?
Exactly. Yeah, so it's really good that people were able to put it to good use. I mean, it's a heavy truck, so even through some of that moving water, it was taking it like a champ. So that's really good to see. But one of the bad things that I saw was like there's a Tesla in a garage that caught fire because of the water. I guess the rising water must have shorted something going on. Did you see some of this too?
Dude, and the picture, first of all, I don't understand why the guy has a camera in his garage, but that's a different story. But the car ended up like a marshmallow. It's like literally, or like when you're like putting on fire the marshmallow. Pretty bad.
Yeah. So I mean, that makes me nervous. Houston, obviously, hurricanes will get him every so often. But if it does flood, now I think this flood water was like salt water over here. I think which was one of the reasons why, right? This battery ended up being like that. I don't think we would have salt water here. It wouldn't be salt water that would be we would get flooding from. So maybe not as big of a concern, but still, that is concerning, especially if you have your Tesla vehicle in your garage. You're near the ocean. The salt water starts flooding, and then your car goes into this chain reaction. How do you stop that? And it's in your garage. So if it's an attached garage, you're in trouble.
I mean, you're toasted, literally.
Yeah, literally.
So I don't know. It's one of those things that now you have to prevent that, right? Like if you're in a flooding, maybe you might even have to leave them outside. I don't know, depending on the configuration of your house, right? So
Yeah,
it kind of sucks. Other people, maybe they want to leave them. Yeah, hard to tell, man.
Yeah, it's very interesting. Actually, you know what? I got my Powerwall installed this week for the Cybertruck. So for those of y'all that aren't familiar with the Powerwall, it basically it's not just a charger. So right, I can charge my my truck, but it allows the truck to power my house as well. So in the case of a hurricane, which is when I would likely be using something like this, power goes out. I can keep my truck plugged into the outlet or to the power wall, and it'll power my house, right? So it'll back up the whole house, and with the battery pack that's in the Cybertruck, which should last a few days, is depending on what I'm using in the house, right? So that's pretty cool. But I got to be aware of that. So seeing this, I park it outside and plug it in, right? Fortunately, I installed the power wall towards the edge of the garage, so that I can,
Mm-hmm.
have the truck in the driveway and still be able to have it plugged in.
Nice.
Yeah.
Talking about the Cybertruck, did you saw the pictures of the guy that he mounted a machine gun on the Cybertruck?
That's pretty cool. You know what? I did see that, and my first thought was like, I need to get the flamethrower, the Tesla flamethrower, and see if I can
It's not a
mount it on
Tesla.
there.
It's the Boring. It's the Boring company.
Oh, the boring
Flame. Yeah.
companies, right? One of Elon's companies, right? Yeah, I was like, oh man, that'd be kind of cool. But this guy's a warlord or something, so I don't know how cool that is. That part's
Well,
not cool.
check this out. There is some claims that actually Elon Musk said, no, not in my watch. Boom, and he disabled his Cybertruck. So I don't know if this is something that is going on internet.
Interesting. Yeah.
Which maybe if you do something, Eric, is like Elon is gonna disable your Cybertruck.
I know. Well, for a second there, I thought, because we got that FSD update pretty quick. I'm like, oh man, how did maybe Elon saw our podcast? He's like, let's give him FSD so they could talk about it. And for a second there, I thought we were special, but no, it went out to everybody. So.
Which it actually, the guy said is gonna be in September, and the last minute of September, it happened, right?
I know, right? Literally, I texted Mando like at night. It was 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, I just got the FSD update. Did you get it? He's like, let me check. Yeah, and he had it too. So it was kind of funny.
I think that maybe, I mean, talking about modifying the Teslas is one of those cars that you kind of wanted to keep personalizing. And kudos for that guy, right? I hope that he doesn't do stupid things, right? With that. But
The warlord, he doesn't.
the
Yeah,
warlord.
I mean,
The other thing is this person did a gold-plated Cybertruck. Basically, I think that it was they have this like almost like a toothpaste, purple toothpaste looking, which is kind of the 24 gold carat, and they just start just putting on top of the Tesla, and with some of the chemicals and electricity, whatever, they just plated the whole truck. Dude, it looks good. It's like,
it looks pretty good. Yeah,
if I'm
that's
gonna
jerry
wrap
rig
it, I'm
everything.
gonna wrap it with gold, baby.
I know. That's a good thing. So it's just the top layer, but I would imagine like if it gets scratched or something, or someone wants gold and they start scraping your truck or something, you just replate it, right? That's kind of cool. So it's not even a wrap, right? So that's pretty neat.
Yeah,
It looked like
I'm
a
actually
long process,
surprised.
though.
It is, but I'm surprised that they're able to put it super smooth, right? Like, I thought that it would be just more like, nope, they're able
Like chunky or something.
to make it super even, which is like, wow. It's like a electroplating process, and it involves multiple steps, right? So they have to apply the layer, they have to put all of the, and obviously it's complex and prone to a lot of errors, but I mean, it's golden. It's golden.
Yeah. Well, another news about like people customizing their truck. So obviously, there's a lot of celebrities. Apparently, it's like the Cybertruck has taken off as being kind of like a celebrity's vehicle. Which, by the way, I think I told you, Mondo, but someone stopped me the other day and asked me if I was famous because I had a cyber. They're like, "Are you famous?" I was like, "Yeah, actually, watch Tech-Mex Podcast. Subscribe, like, and subscribe."
Dude, it happens all the time, man. I didn't know that this would happen, right? So, another kid, like 19-year-old, he's like, hey, what do you do? It's like, a podcast? And the guy's like, really? No, I'm just kidding. But the guy was basically asking, what do I do in order to get a car like what I got, right? So, yes, it gets a lot of attention, and I don't know if it's good. I still not sure if I like it or not. It
Too late.
I guess too late. You're right. By the way, we have a subscriber that knows you. and is watching you, Eric.
This is a funny thing. I wonder if it's by the way, Harris, if you're watching, shout out. One of my neighbors stopped by the other day with his kids. They're like, we see your truck out here all the time. We saw my wife was standing outside. We wanted to stop by and see if we could check it out. So we had some neighbors stop by, and the kids, climbed in the truck and checked it out. It was pretty funny. So
Dude,
it's a good way to meet your neighbors, Mando.
I mean, I'm already, it's like my neighbor, Paul, suddenly he just comes and clicks the ring. I say, what's up? Can I see your truck? It's like, sure. So yes, the good news is that I knew the guy, right? But in your case, probably was a stranger.
It was a little bit more of a surprise. I have not met my neighbor Harris here, but could you meet him?
Yes. So I think that personalizing the truck is interesting. Like Shaq actually pimp it up very good, right? Because the guy is big, right? So
Yeah.
and the Kardashians also, right? Now Donald Trump, right? So you have all of these celebrities just getting the cyber trucks.
Well, I did see the ultimate, the biggest customization.
You put a wall around it.
Build the biggest wall around the truck. No one can see it. No, I saw a monkey. There was a monkey. A dude had a monkey in his truck here in Houston driving down the highway. I said, okay, that only happens in Houston. It's a very Houston thing. But he had what was his handle? At Solar Expert Texas, maybe something like that. Anyways, you look up Cybertruck monkey, you'll see it. But the wrap that he had was actually kind of this iridescent, pearlescent wrap. But in the video, someone was just driving down the freeway. They're like, hey, check out this Cybertruck. And then there was a monkey inside swinging from the visor. The Cybertruck. So I guess you got to be a pretty eccentric person to pick up one of these Cybertrucks. You should look it up.
I don't know what that says about you or me, right?
I know. Do it for the podcast.
Yes, for the views. So subscribe and like.
Like and subscribe. We got to pay for these things somehow, right?
Yes.
Oh, man. Well, moving on to a little bit, I think we haven't covered too much wealth, but we still want to bring some of these items to you. So we did see this week, it ties in with our some of our tech folks. Zuckerberg,
dude, the
moved
guy
up in the ranks.
became cool. It used to be, I don't know, maybe the billions, right? Help. Like freaking Elon was even bald, and now he has like a lushy hair. Zuckerberg was like a mime, and then he became like a badass MMA fighter, right?
He went from a reptilian to like a badass. What? I don't know how he did that.
It's just with a couple billions, I guess that helps.
He has like a gold chain, he's all good. Well, he became the second richest person in the world now. Our old boy Mark Zuckerberg from Meta. So, he's doing something right. But of course, a lot of these billionaires are just jumping into AI. And so this big push, the latest push from Meta to get into AI, and I know they still are doing this augmented reality stuff, VR stuff. They're trying to do this stuff. Now he's the second richest person in the world. He's got over $200 billion. So he surpassed your buddy Bezos.
They have already a bunch of people that they have been on AI because of the ads. So they needed to match the people that they have in the platform in Facebook with the proper ads, and that way it has the relevance. So they already have the kind of the brightest minds about that, right? So it's kind of there was a quote, kind of sad, because it says it's kind of sad that the brightest and best minds of my generation, they are thinking of how people can just make clicks, right? So, which is true. It's like a lot of these companies like Amazon, Google, and Meta, they have all of these AI engineers, and they were just asking them, hey, how we can make more ads and more clicks, right? now we are hopefully putting these minds to all other type of thinking, right? It's still on AI.
Yeah, that's true. Or I mean, I guess the for the clickers, like eventually this technology will spill over into other industries. So I guess that's at least the good that you can take out of it, right? Yes, everything is about the content strategies and how to get the most clicks, but eventually it spills over into healthcare, right? We get better predictive services so that we don't end up getting as sick. It helps us get into space. Our friend Elon is out there building rockets, and he's making reusable rockets now. Whereas before, they were kind of one and done. Now we can use them. He can build an arm that catches these rockets in midair. So it's pretty cool. So I mean, I think it's a good thing. So it's congratulations to Mark Zuckerberg. He surpassed Bezos, and I think Arnold from LVMH, Louis Vuitton, right? Moet. The H is for. Is it Hermes? It's not Hermes. Hermes is different.
I have no idea, man.
Either way, the luxury brand mogul. He's I guess in fourth now. So a little bit of a shakeup there. So just keep y'all up to date.
All right. I think that we have a good one, man.
Yeah, I think we're good. So, just another reminder, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. We love to hear from you guys. Check out our new videos out there. We also have our old all-time high videos, but check out our Cybertruck videos. Let us know what you want to see next. I'll probably end up doing another ride-along similar to Mando did for full self-driving. But that's all we've got. We'll see y'all next time. Dale.
Dale.